So we've got a wobbly table, guys. I'm gonna fix that wobbly table with some yarn. Oh no, the wobble is not occurring on the foot. The wobble is occurring where the stem of the table meets the feet. I don't think I have the wherewithal to fix that wobble. I don't know how this is gonna happen. I don't know what I'm gonna do here. Hi, and welcome to my podcast. I'm Naomi, and this is NJ Knits, which is my knitting podcast. Yeah! So I have been in Calgary for a while working, and that's where I started this podcast. And I think this is going to be my last podcast from Calgary. The next one you'll see will be from somewhere else. We'll find out together. So it's been a little bit over a week, and I will update you on my finished objects, my whips, and some plans for the future. Oh, I don't have my yarn with me. I'm actually podcasting from work today. My sister's in town and she's at home, and my partner is coming to visit, so it's going to be very busy up until I leave. So I thought I'd just nip in to give you a quick update on how things are going while I have a break. So let's jump right in, shall we? As I'm grabbing things, the giveaway is still happening, so if you want to win some of that Canadian yarn, make sure to give a post. I think like 3 people have entered so far, so the odds are pretty good that you'll get some yarn if you feel like entering. The way to enter is to make a post about some project that you're going to work on that is going to embody the idea of not being obstructed by perfection. So make a post, put the hashtag not obstructed by perfection, and tag me in it, and it can be anything you want. It can be a project that you're worried about because it seems really hard. It can be a project that you've done you've made mistakes in. It can be a project that you're using the wrong yarn for, or a project that you're kind of just throwing together because you really need something where you're just going, you know what, I'm just gonna do it and not be obstructed by perfection. Tag me in it if you want to win some yarn. I'm gonna probably send it out at the end of this week. So that is that. I will show you some finished objects. So last week you saw my beautiful Marta v-neck jumper, which is here, and I had a whip which was a matching top with my leftover yarn. And guys, I have small enough to go in the scrap. So I don't have 2 scrap things. I have 1 scrap thing. It's a tiny little like makeup bag. with scraps, and that is scraps that are small enough to be provisional cast-ons. That's where I keep my scraps. All the other scraps that are larger quantities, I don't call scraps, I just call them yarn that I keep with my yarn and use for projects. Smaller amounts would be like scrappy baby projects, like the Baby Bohème, I guess. Baby Bohème was a totally scrappy project. It was a baby jumper that I did, striped. I did like a kind of faded stripe. It didn't work very well, but I did like larger bits of one color and smaller bits of the other color, and then slowly made it so that it was orange and purple, and it was like large bits of orange, small bits of purple, and then the purple got bigger and the orange got smaller as you went up the jumper. And then the yoke was entirely two different scraps. They were like a dark blue and a gray, and it turned into actually kind of pulled together, but it was all scraps from sock yarn. Anyway, my point is that I consider that to be like just normal yarn, and then scraps are just things that are small enough to be like used for provisional cast-on, so tiny little bits. And that's all that I had left after making my second Sugar Boo bralette. Look at this luxury, guys. So I was talking last week about how I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the stripes, and whether I was going to do I kind of wanted to do an I-cord. I did do an I-cord. I made a happy I-cord family. I still haven't sorted this out, which I am going to do. Maybe I'll do that after this, actually, if I still have some time waiting around. I mean, just gorgeous. It's so soft and lovely. I'll insert a picture, some footage of me wearing it, because, you know, I'd try things on in my podcast for you, because I don't know. I always like that, but this is like a bralette, so I'm not going to take off my top at work. It's weird. Some people would think it's weird. It's fine, but it's weird. I didn't do any modifications this time. Last time when I made my Sugar Boo bralette for my sister, who loves it, by the way, I don't have any pictures of her wearing it. We still have to graft the straps. What I did with the other one I made my sister was I didn't graft the straps on. I made them extra long and then just put a stitch holder on them, so that when she came she could try it on and decide how long she wanted her straps to be, and if she wanted them crossed or not. So she's tried it on, she loves it, but we haven't grafted the straps. Must remember to do that before she leaves. But this one, so the last one I made for her, I did it without the back triangles because I wanted to, I guess is the short answer. But this one I did with the triangles because I wanted to do that. So I really love it. It's so soft, it's so cozy, it's a great pattern. I added the stripes in because I just had scraps left over from my Marta v-neck jumper. So this is them. They go together like so. You don't really see much of this when you wear it with this. I'll show you what it looks like. But you know, that's fine. I know that they're matching, and that's what counts. It's like, does anyone ever wear like matching underwear? Nobody ever knows except you, and it's just like, sometimes I'll like match it with my shoes. Is that weird? Or like socks, or match it with a top, or whatever. Anyway, so that is my finished object. This is done with Katya Concept mohair silk. 70% silk, 30% mohair, so it's a chainette. There's a little chained tube of silk that is filled with mohair, and so you get this like extreme mohair goodness, really soft and light and fluffy. It's beautiful. I don't know if you can see. Can you see any chains? You can kind of see that there's chains there. See those tiny little holes in the stitches. Anyway, I'm a fan. I like a blow yarn, me. That is my first. That's my only finished object. Is the top. I was so excited about it. It flew off the needles. Took like a few days. It was just like boom. I really wanted a Sugar Boo bralette for myself after I made one for my sister. So I was really happy that was serendipitous. This is the extra yarn. This is my leftovers. That's what I have left over. That is a good game of yarn chicken, I would say. It wasn't even yarn chicken because it's top down, so you can just go until you're done, basically. But that was the yarn chicken for the I-cord bind off. So I was pleased with that. Have you ever, when you're doing yarn chicken, you end up with too much, so you actually undo the whole bind off and then go again a little bit more until you get just that right amount of using up everything? I've done that. So, hey guys, I'm jumping in. This is future Naomi because I forgot to show you one FO, and so I wanted to show it to you. And also, since I filmed this, I did get a acquisition which I'm really excited about, and I'll probably forget to talk about it in my next podcast after I come home from Calgary and go somewhere else. So I thought I'd just jump in and show it to you. It's my Kind of Magic socks. So this is how they turned out. They do fit my partner. I will try to put some pictures in. Hopefully I will have some. This is sock numero uno. So interesting. I'd be interested to know what other people do with this top bit when they weave it in, because this is me just knitting it in consort with the rest of knitting the end in alongside with the rest of them. I talked about that originally. And then the second time I thought, well, I'll try weaving it in instead so it stays up here and doesn't go down there. But I find that almost as jarring as that. If we're talking slight perfectionism here. They're kind of both just as annoying. Like, I feel like this is the more, like, I don't know. I wove it in, but I tried to weave it only with, I guess the really perfectionist thing would be to weave it in such a way that it doesn't show on the outside. So just weave it through the inside with only partially through the stitch so you don't see it on the outside. That must be, I just wanted to know, I was like, what would you do if you were being perfectionist about it? Not to judge that way of being, but just wondering how you would make it more perfect than this. I mean, this is perfectly fine. Not ever obstructed by perfection here. I just do it and carry on. But I was curious how you could achieve a closer state of perfection. But I think that must be it, right? You have to, like, just kind of catch the bit of the stitch and kind of weave it partially through stitches, not all the way through so it shows. Anyway, interesting thing about these socks. So the top bit is very similar. The pattern turned out quite similar, I would say. But the bottom bit, my friends, you know how I was saying I was like mindfully knitting? Well, when I got past the heel, I thought to myself, you're not going to see that bit of the sock. So I stopped mindfully knitting, and folks, girls, I've decided I'm going to try saying girls instead of guys, just as a fun little side note. So if you're a male person and I'm saying girls, I'm using girls in the gender neutral sense. That's what I want to do. Anyways, girls, that's different. The mindful knitting was having an actual effect on my attention. I kind of thought that it was a made-up concept, but I stopped it and I just knit however, and it totally changed it. So I found that interesting, but you know, that's okay. Not obstructed by perfection. I should have carried on being more mindful if I wanted them to be the same, but I made the conscious choice. I just wanted to knit. I did most of this. I did it in the entirety of this foot in one day. I had finished turning the heel and we went on a hike, and I did all of this at the hike, and then I did the toe partially on the drive home, but I mostly fell asleep on the drive home, and then I finished it in the evening. So this was hiking right here. And the socks began and ended at the same place, because they began, I was kayaking by myself for camping kayaking. That's where I cast these socks on. And then I finished the second sock at the same lake, but hiking with my family instead of camping kayaking by myself. So they're Koenigs socks, because that's where I was. The more I look at them, the sadder I am that I didn't make this sock look more like leopard print. Anyway, my partner seems to like them. They fit her well, so that's exciting. I have a hoe. It's a new hoe. You may have seen on Instagram me post this. On my Instagram is Naomi Joy Knits. I went yesterday with my sister to a corn maze. Very fun. So much fun. And I casted on a quick birthday knit. And I made the whole sock in one day. Really pleased. This is my second go at cotton socks made from dishcloth cotton. I don't know if that's actually a term, but it's called clean cotton. So it is 100% recycled. It's by Universal Yarn, clean cotton. It's 100% recycled, and they have it in these cool, so it's recycled cotton and recycled polyester. So 85% cotton and 15% polyester. But it's very much your dishcloth kind of cotton. Interestingly, this is fascinating. The purple feels like the purple feels like if you've ever had like, oh, what is it called? Brushed cotton? Really soft, you know? Like really, really soft cotton. This feels like crocheting cotton, like almost like macrame cotton, like the typical like really harsh cotton. They're the exact same yarn, they're just different dyes, and they are so different in the feeling. It's kind of mind-blowing. I was just double checking they are exactly the same, but they are. It's basically an Aran weight. They say to use 5mm needles. Well, they give you a hook, 5.5mm hook. Somehow the hook, you need a bigger one. It's 55 grams, and it gives you 88 meters. And they label that a medium, but that's kind of an Aran weight. I guess 88 meters, it's almost, maybe it's more of a DK worsted situation. I'm not sure. So the first pair of socks that I made with this yarn, I made in different colors, but the same yarn, I did with 40 stitches because I thought cotton doesn't stretch and come back, so I want to make it, I thought cotton, when you stretch cotton, it doesn't come back into shape like wool does. So I thought, I'll just make it super tiny. I'll make the sock super tiny so that it stretches, but it has to stretch to get on your foot. That was not a well thought out plan, because obviously you need it to have a long heel diagonal, and this part of the sock has to get over your heel diagonal, so it's gonna innately stretch more than it needs to. If that makes sense. It's going to have to stretch more than you want it to be stretched around your foot. So when I made the other pair of socks, I discovered I needed to put some elastic around the tops in order to make them not just be like floppy giant anklets. The foot fit okay, but the top needed the elastic. But the elastic was kind of fun actually to put in, and it made the sock feel great, and I'm actually kind of pro elastic. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to continue working on this concept. So the changes I made were, instead of 40 stitches, I did 46 stitches. And that's good. This is too big. It's 1x1 ribbing the whole way down this time. But once I get the elastic in, I think it's going to be perfect. Then I did the heel, and I kept the ribbing for the foot so that it would be nice and better fitting, basically, but I kept the bottom in stockinette. And then I copied the toe decreases not entirely. I copied the toe decreases from the crazy kind of magic socks from Woollen the gang, because I really like the way the toe is shaped that way. they do decreases that are just slightly different from the ones you would do on a wedged toe, and it makes the toe look slightly rounder, which I enjoy. I like that look, personally, more than the wedged look. So, and I forgot to jog my stitches when I added that on. I love this wool. I love this cotton. It's great. It's hilarious how rough this feels and how soft this feels, but it's perfect because the toe and the heel, you want it to feel like rough, and strong. So really happy with this hoe, and I did it in one day yesterday, and today I've got, now this is going to be yarn chicken, guys, because I have it in my Lucian Yak bag. So I've almost finished the cuff. Oh, and I also did a little bit because I thought, this is great to get over the heel diagonal, but you have no more heel diagonal from here on, so there's no need for it to be oversized. So I decreased those 6 stitches back out again because I liked actually the fit of the original socks around the foot, just not around the ankle. And then obviously also they were the wrong length of sock. Really annoyingly, because I was in a corn maze and trying to work out where the next stamp was, we had to get 12 stamps. Guys, we only got 11. It was really disappointing. We were the last ones out. The place was all closed. You couldn't hear the noise. It was really helpful because it was noise from like the rides, so you could always kind of orient yourself. Anyway, we got 11 stamps. We didn't get the Coliseum stamp. It was sad days. But we went to a brew pub afterwards, so it was okay. Point is, I was doing the heel, this short row heel. I was doing the heel, and I'd finished the first section, and then you go all the way across, and then you start doing the short rows again to do the second section. Well, I finished this, and then because I was like going all the way across, I was like, I'm done now, and I started going around, and then I was like going around with the purple, and I was like, this heel is tiny, because it was essentially this. And so I had cut the gray yarn, which was very disappointing. So I had to join the yarn. And again, I used the Russian join. Had to join the yarn, had 2 extra ends to weave just because I was in a maze and wasn't paying attention, and had to kind of redo the heel. But all is good. All is good. And there's not too many holes in this either, which is pleasing. Well, that needs to be organized a little bit. That needs to be tightened up. But that'll be fine once I tighten it. Tightening stitches is a revelation, guys. Literally just being like, that's loose, and just pulling at it until it sort of disperses. Revelation. Revelation. So this is my whip, other sock number 2. These need to be done by Friday, but I have strong confidence. This is a 3.75 needle. Just using my 9-inch interchangeable Chow Goose, which was a present to myself for being out here. And again, I used, for these ones, I didn't do this on my last cotton sock, but I did the Italian tubular cast on because I just kind of obsessed with it right now, and I think it just looks amazing. So, yeah. I'm gonna see how these go. I think they'll be great. And then I'm gonna do them again, I think, with that Lisa Harding yarn, because I was talking about that last week. But I might need a little bit of a break from socks because I've been real sock heavy this week, guys. So we're into whips already because I showed you my hoe. This was my hoe from last week, my child's sock from the Regia sock. I mean, the colors are just great. It's Arnie and Carlos colorway. Just great colors. I love them. I was working on that, and then I realized I was working on the second one, and then I realized that the child I was making these for, my parents left, so I couldn't finish them in time for my parents to take them to said child. They were going to be way too big for the said child. Now, children do have a tendency to grow, so that's fine. But I might just bring these back and give them to my partner's, like, niece. Yeah, was it a totally random thing to purchase sock yarn for a child and make a child's sock and have no real child to actually give said sock to. Very random. So I realized that someone who actually is around, their birthday was coming soon. Sorry, I'm checking because I am technically waiting to begin work at this point. Anyway, someone who actually is around, his birthday was coming soon, and I was like, I need to stop doing this and do that. So that's why this is a whip and not a hoe. Although I don't think I would have finished this. This would have taken much, much longer than a day to finish. And I haven't had a lot of, oh no. Let me just quickly pick up some stitches here, guys. I'm gonna take a little moment here. I don't have much progress to show you on these Pescatarians, but I am gonna take a moment to speak to you about them, because I want to say this doesn't happen horrendously often to me, and I want to say that, but I'm probably wrong when I want to say that. More than likely I'm wrong. I am obsessed with this yarn. I cannot deal with how glorious this yarn is. So just to take a moment, this is my continued hoe. I'm doing the Eye of the Partridge heel flap, which is amazing. I'm so excited about that. I'm gonna have to get back on some heel flap socks just to make more Eye of the Partridge heels because they're so cool. How cool is that? Oh, and in this yarn. So this is yarn from, this is my cable needle, which is really just a 9-inch circular. This is yarn from River Knits. They're a company in the UK. They dye yarn out of their canal boat, and I think they have a studio as well. They sell it out of their canal boat. They post it. It's an online. I'll link their website below. I think the thing is, like, having knit with this, which is beautiful and it's great, you know, superwash merino with nylon. This is blue-faced Leicester, I believe, and it's got, has it got nylon in it? I think it does. Is it superwash? I don't know. I might stop and look that up. No, I'm gonna make the thing shake. I'm gonna look it up because I want to know now. It's very exciting, guys. I'm sure you're gonna be thrilled. Yeah, I think this is the Nene. And, okay, it's 100%, I knew this already. I just wasn't sure if it was superwash and if it contained any nylon. The answer to those questions is, it doesn't say on the website if it's superwash or not. I don't think it is. Because I've spun blue-faced Leicester before, and this feels very much like that. And I don't think I was spinning superwash blue-faced Leicester. Do you get superwash fibers to spin? I'm sure you do, but it's probably not as common. Anyway, guys, blue-faced Leicester, get your hands on some. Try it out. It is the most amazing feeling yarn. And when I spun it, it felt the same. It was just like, oh. So it has no nylon in it, and it is a 4-ply weight. It's a there's 2 actual plies in it, but it's 4-ply weight, so it's fingering weight. Anyway, it's called Nene, the type of the base that I got. I don't think they have this colorway at the moment, but the color is stunning. I am in love with this color. I love the it's not really variegated. It's just I guess a tonal solid. I entered this in the solid sock knit along. This was a mystery knit along. I did not achieve the knit along because it ended months and months and months ago. But this is technically a solid, but it's just a sort of a tonal solid. If you can see, I am in love with it. It's the colors on it. I mean, anyway, my point is, when you knit with this, you just feel like you're just in heaven when you're knitting this, especially after having knit on this, which it doesn't feel bad. This is great. This is sock yarn. It's great. Sock yarn. This is just heaven. This is sock yarn, heaven. Sock yarn, heaven. Heaven, sock yarn. Heaven, sock yarn. So I'm obsessed with this. I want to knit, like, just forever knit. I want to get some yarn from River Knits and make a jumper in it. I want to make all the socks in it. I just want to give it a lot of time. So I'm fine. This is taking forever. It's going to continue to take forever, certainly. But I really enjoy knitting on it. And I'm just going to keep on keeping on. Finish those socks for birthday present. I'm probably going to finish these completely undestined child socks just so that they're finished, because I have that sort of like itching desire to finish things, she says. I still have one sock that I haven't cast on the second sock. Once I cast on the second sock, it'll go. But I think sometimes just casting on said second sock is a bit tricky for some reason. I don't know why. That's all my whips, guys. That's all. That's all I have. Working on those cotton socks. I'm really excited about them. Basically, I'm trying to recreate these in knitted form. So I also hilariously started with that bamboo pop sock yarn. I started making a sock out of them. I did the cuff, that much. Realized that 60 stitches, which was the same number of stitches and needle size I used for the Woollen the Gang socks, but in that bamboo stuff, because it has elastic in it, far too many stitches. So I frogged the whole thing and put the bamboo yarn away and started on those cotton socks instead. And my sister was like, did you just start a different pair of socks now? I'm a little bit like there's a lot of socks going on. I'm a little bit tired of it. I'm about to start on a test knit. Really excited about. I need to get some contrast colors. I'm considering getting them in the minis from the custom Woollen Mill minis that I've used for my Swan Lake sock. I need to get those minis, but I'm gonna make that tee with my ice yarn. So that's an exciting thing that's going to start at some point. I'm not sure. It'll probably start before I leave. It'll probably be a plain knit, but I might just be doing socks on the plane instead. We'll just have to see. We'll play it by ear. I'm also going camping, so I'll probably take socks camping. Camping is a good place for socks. So that's it. The only other thing is I dyed some yarn. I dyed that yarn. I said I was going to dye it, and I dyed it. Dyed it with avocado. The thing I did was I filled the pot with too much yarn. I had 5 skeins of 100 grams of Aran weight yarn. Anyone could have told me, including myself, that was too much yarn for one pot. But I was like, well, I don't want to do it in batches because then I'll end up with different colors. Okay. But, you're going to be using 2 held together, so if they're slightly different colors, it kind of doesn't matter. I should have told myself that. That would have been so good. I could have done it in 2 batches. I did it in 1 batch, and so what happened was, because there was so much yarn in one pot, it was too close together, and there was just bits that didn't get dyed because it was not touching the dye, basically. So there's some skeins that have some white bits on them. But it's going to be okay. I'm not going to be obstructed by perfection here. It's going to be 2 held together along with another mohair. All of that happening in there, guys. Like, you're not going to notice the random white bits. It'll be fine. I'm really excited to start on that. We'll see how it goes. And, oh my goodness, you guys. Time for some charity shop unboxing. So, Value Village, $4.99, folks. I'm opening it now. Look at this. Now, I haven't weighed it, but if you remember I made some socks with single ply, 100% wool, no superwash Canadian yarn that was spun in a mule spinner. I got a cone of it for $5. Custom Woollen mill, single ply, mule spun, color 5. This feels like 5. Okay, this feels like it was 500 grams, but if you see how it kind of goes in a little bit, I'm guessing it was used. So it feels more like now it's about 300. I think that kind of, it was probably like that to start with, and now it's like this. So about 200 grams was used up, or maybe a little less than 200, 150 grams was used up. I mean, this is just totally making it up. I don't have a scale, so I haven't weighed it. But it's a good amount of yarn. It's a good amount of yarn, folks. I am so excited about this because I loved the Custom Woollen Mills single ply, and now I've got a cone of it. I mean, what's not to be excited about? So excited. And hilariously, I was gonna buy some Custom Woollen Mills single ply wool for the t-shirt that I'm gonna start test knitting. I wasn't planning to buy brown. It would have been too perfect. And I was planning to buy some mini skeins, which I think I still will do, but I might use some of this brown. I mean, so cool. So, Custom Woollen Mills mule spun yarn found in the Value Village, because I'm very lucky and very grateful to be lucky to find it. So cool, so exciting. Custom Woollen Mills isn't super expensive anyway, which is really cool. But it was cool to find it in the charity shop and get it. So yay! Alright, that's enough. So that's kind of a short one for you guys today. I'm gonna have a bit of footage to show you the yarn that I dyed, and to show you my finished object. But yeah, 32 minutes. High five. Psh, that was quick. I hope you're having a good week, and I hope that I see you again shortly. If you are watching this before the 13th, do pop a little entry in to win some beautiful Canadian yarn, because I would love to send that out to someone. I will now, because at least 2 people have entered and I have 2 prizes, so it will get it sent out to someone. So cool. See you later.